Hey guys, in this video I'm going to give you my 16 reasons as to why I believe you should be training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And just so you can know, I'm a recently promoted blue belt based out of New York City. The first reason why is because it increases your confidence. My confidence from when I started Jiu-Jitsu to now, my confidence is through the roof. And that brings me to number 2. Why is my confidence through the roof? Because although I'm not a black belt, although I have a lot to learn and years and maybe even decades of training to go, I still feel like I'm able to protect my family. Number 3, I do it for myself. It's a stress reliever. You know, whenever you got to worry about paying the rent or whenever you have any type of issues, you go and instead of paying the stress with some alcohol, pizza, or the drug of your choice, you go to jiu-jitsu, and it's a much more productive way of relieving some stress. Number 4, the camaraderie. The camaraderie is similar to something I've never noticed or experienced before, because you're grappling with these men, and these men are literally putting your arm in a place where they could break it if they were to move it one more centimeter. And then after that, you shake hands and give each other hugs. You know, so it brings camaraderie because you could trust your training partner. And usually the trust between people is really strong when you go through things together. And going through jiu-jitsu, the journey of jiu-jitsu together, causes the camaraderie to be a byproduct. Number 5, the mind muscle connection is extremely worked out and triggered during jiu-jitsu, because you're like using your muscles, but you're also using technique. It's like playing chess with your body, you know. So if you go here, then I go there, and it's just like, it's a mind muscle connection that most likely, I mean, there's never been a study done, but I'm sure jiu-jitsu could help reduce the causes or the diagnosis of Alzheimer's, because if a crossword puzzle is causing a person to reduce their chances of Alzheimer's, I could imagine jiu-jitsu is a lot more, because it's like physical and mental at the same time. Number 6, it keeps you calm. It keeps me calm. You know, coming out of jiu-jitsu class, you take a shower, you get something to eat, and you're just like, the whole day is extremely mellow. And even the days I don't train, I'm still mellow, because jiu-jitsu is like, it just calms your nerves very much so. Number 7, you train in a lethal art, you know, without getting punched or kicked. So it's like, if you're a doctor, like in my case, I'm a paramedic and I hold a degree in medicine. So, you know, my professional appearance is extremely important to me. I can't go to work with a black eye. You know what I mean? So in jiu-jitsu, yeah, the chances of getting hurt are high because it's a contact sport, but they're much lower than other sports, I would say, because, you know, you're not getting kicked in the face. You're not getting punched in the face. Unless you train in another art, you know, like in my case, I train in Muay Thai every once in a while. So, you know, that's something different. But in jiu-jitsu, you could train really hard, and most of the time, if not the majority of the time, you come out of the class without any bruises, which is good, especially if you have a professional life. Number 8, it makes your bones stronger. Man, I tell you, when I roll with a white belt and I like squeeze their wrist, compared to squeezing the wrist of some purple belts, blue belts, brown belts, and black belts, is like night and day, man. It's like the black belts, their bones are like steel, you know. And me, like during the pandemic, when I stopped rolling, I felt like my bones became weaker. So this is a byproduct that I've noticed, that people that are training jiu-jitsu on a regular basis are extremely vascular, and they're very rigid. Their bones are extremely rigid. So this translates to most likely a decrease in the chances of osteoporosis. Not to say that we have to concern ourselves with that, but it's something to take under consideration. Another thing is, number 9, you learn. I learn all the time. Although I might be taught the same technique, I still learn, even though they're teaching me that. And it allows me the opportunity to teach. So it's great because I'm always taught by my superiors and by the newer students, but I'm also given the opportunity to teach the newer students the mistakes that I made. So it's like I receive and I give, I receive and I give, and that feels extremely awesome to be able to tell a white belt like, hey, look, if you keep your hands inside, this will be a lot better for you than if you keep them outside. So that's an example of how you get to learn. So I learned by getting choked out, you know what I mean? And I learn from the advice I receive, and I also get to teach, which allows me to learn even more because they say you don't know something unless you're able to teach it. It's extremely humbling. Number 10, this art is extremely humbling. I know big guys, like, they're like 260 pounds, just brolic, huge guys. And they're like, listen, I was rolling with the black belt, and, like this, I'll use my friend, for example. He's a big guy, he's 250 pounds, and he's a purple belt. And he was rolling with a black belt that was like almost 100 pounds lighter than him. And he's like, yo, I don't know how he does it, but I can't do anything against this guy. And although he's 100 pounds heavier. So jiu-jitsu is extremely humbling, which allows you to also adds to that calmness that I mentioned to you earlier. Number 11, it influences your decision making. So for example, before the pandemic, during Christmas time, there was an open mat on Christmas. And I said, I want to go to that open mat. I want to take advantage of that opportunity. So what did I do? Instead of drinking and going crazy, eating a whole bunch of food that was not good for me, I thought to myself, well, I have this open mat to go to tomorrow. So I didn't go crazy. I didn't drink a bunch of alcohol and I didn't get a hangover. So what I'm trying to tell you is when you train jiu-jitsu, when you live the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, then you could start seeing how all these things influence your decision making on a daily basis. So with me, I drink a lot of water, I do a lot of running. When I lift weights in a way where it'll supplement my jiu-jitsu game. So these are things that is also a benefit because you want your body to be functional. Number 12, it helps your mental health. Like I mentioned before, it has to do with the stress. Number 13, it helps your physical health. So it's like a two for one deal in jiu-jitsu. You help your brain and you help your physical health. Number 14, you tap into your warrior genetics. My ancestors, your ancestors, 500, 1,000 years ago, these people had to go out and fend for self. They didn't have a 7-Eleven. They didn't have a bodega in the corner. They had to make it happen. And if on the route to make it happen, to bring food back to their family, they had to get into a squabble or scrap with another person or another animal, they did it. We're descendants from warriors, from what I understand. So when you do jiu-jitsu, you tap into that warrior genetic, that especially for men. Like, I advise jiu-jitsu should be done by men and females, of course. And there's girls at my dojo that when I see them, I'm just like, all right, here I go. Time for me to get choked out, because they're really good. So all I'm saying is that it helps you tap into the warrior instinct, whether you're a man or a female, but especially for men, because, men are usually the ones who are going to war, right? Number 15, it's a full body workout. Like you use your abs, you use your arms, you use your back, you use your neck muscles, you use your jaw muscles, you use every type of muscle. Like there's muscles on my face that I didn't even know existed sometimes. Like sometimes my nail beds hurt when I come out of jiu-jitsu. Not hurt like I'm in pain. It's just they're sore from all the working out that I did. So jiu-jitsu is definitely a full body workout. And number 16, I saved the best for last because my kids have witnessed me do jiu-jitsu. They witnessed me do the jiu-jitsu lifestyle. And they brag about me to their teachers. They look at me like a hero. Like little do they know that I'm still learning and I'm new in this. But to them, I'm just like, I'm like the Avengers superhero or whatever movie that they see on TV. Like your family, if you have kids especially, you'll see that they'll look up to you because you're doing something that's not done on a regular basis and it's cool to them. And then it influences them to do it as well. So you know what? Number 17, you get to be a good influence to those around you. And I've experienced this firsthand. My sons, I have two boys, they're always doing jiu-jitsu with each other. And they're always asking me to do it. And that's priceless. That really is. So guys, this is 17 reasons. It was 16, now it turned into 17. 17 reasons why I believe you should do jiu-jitsu. If you have any questions, if you want any advice, if you have any questions about this or anything else, please feel free to ask them down below. Subscribe, like, share, and I hope this helps. See you on the mats. Peace.